नमस्कार, आप देख रहे हैं एनबीसी भारत और आपके साथ मैं हूँ आरती तुनाक। दिल्ली के प्रगति मैदान में इंडियाज़ लार्जेस्ट टेक्नोलॉजी एक्सपो का आज तीसरा दिन है और आज इस एक्सपो में एक कॉन्फ्रेंस का आयोजन किया गया है जिसको होस्ट कर रही हैं हमारी सीनियर जर्नलिस्ट बरखा दस। इस पैनल डिस्कशन में वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट पर एक पैनल डिस्कशन होगा द वेरी फेमस अनुराधा अग्रवाल के साथ। तो चलिए इस पैनल डिस्कशन का हिस्सा बनते हैं और जानते हैं कि कैसे वुमेन टेक्नोलॉजी एंड द न्यू इंडिया shaping our future.
It was my experience.
No, but the reason I ask you this is we're talking about women in technology, and like I face this when we talk about women in media or we talk about women reporting war or conflict, and a part of me is like I don't want that prefix. A part of me in my 50s is that prefix has been part of my journey, and if you took that prefix away from me, I would have had it easier, it would have been different in some ways. So that constant battle within yourself, do you de-gender yourself, do you gender yourself? I mean, have you...
That's a very interesting question and one that I've pondered enough in my life. So I'll give you two examples. I was at Vodafone and the global CEO was very diversity focused. And I asked him this question saying, you know, you're putting women in the spotlight.
Yeah.
And the spotlight makes us feel like we're different.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes special, but also as if we have to do something different and something more than what other people have to do.
But don't we?
We have to do more, but it doesn't mean we have to deliver more.
No, we have to work harder.
We have to work harder to deliver the same.
Correct.
We have to deal with a different set of environments. Yeah. His answer to me was, yes, I don't disagree with anything, but you are blazing a trail, and for a long time, the women who will be coming to the corporate world will continue to blaze this trail. So maybe you're the tip of the spear, you will create a hole, some 10 more people will follow, they'll all feel like they're in the spotlight. And that spotlight is necessary because only then does the spotlight grow. Maybe it will become 50-50 at some point of time. So in that sense, gender as an identity and in the workplace and difficulties that come with it are very much part of the journey and one has to live with it. And like I said, I've always told people that I'm here despite the fact that I'm a woman, not because I am one. Sometimes you feel like people are given jobs because, oh, I want a diversity candidate or I want a girl or a woman in this job. But I feel like no one's going to put an ineffective person in a job. And you don't last if you're not going to do a good job. So you may have worked very hard to get there. You'll still have to deliver what you have to deliver.
But you know, we were talking earlier before you came about this as well. Enabling environments today for equity, the conversation needs to go a bit deeper in the sense that we keep talking about work as if it's separate from home. I think I was saying this earlier, you take your home to your work and you take your work to your home, and that's just the way it is. Now, if parents, to be hands-on dads, to sometimes be single dads, right, to do their share of the PTA meetings, then they are also entitled to the flexi hours or the creche or the family leave that women get. But have we reached that mindset? Have we embraced that? Are we too caught in an old version of enabling environments?
I think it's a continuum. And yes, we're reaching there. So, I mean, some organizations and like Amazon that we work for do have leave for, similar leave for men and women. Yeah. They have childcare leave, they have paternity leave. We have the ability to take a break, whether you're a man or a woman. So I think a certain amount of reaching parity, like what they say, equal opportunity is happening.
Yeah.
Is it happening in a large scale? I think that, like I said, it's a continuum. Some people will form like the early adopters and some others will follow. But the larger problem is a societal mindset, right? I think I've always believed that sons of working moms, wives of working mothers, husbands of working mothers, they tend to be greater allies of this.
100%, 100%.
And in that allyship, they create an environment which is more equal opportunity for men and for women. Not just for women, but also this ability to say, my kid is sick. I have a team member who messaged me in the morning saying he's got 2 young children and every time his kid is sick, he's the one who takes leave. And I never asked the question of why are you taking leave, why can't your wife take care of it? It's the same way that it shouldn't be asked of the woman or expected of a woman. I think when you reach that place is where it begins to become.
And where it's a little more organic.
Where it's more organic.
But let's take you back to how this all starts for you. When you're starting out, do you face problems?
Yeah, of course. And I mean, I started, like I said, at a time when, you know.
Yeah, but the sales
they want-
manager role
yeah,
in
yeah,
UP,
that-
where are you in UP? What happens? Tell us more.
That's very interesting. So I started off as a management trainee in Andhra Pradesh, actually. I didn't know the language. I mean, I'm married to an Andhraite now. I didn't know anything about Andhra at that time. And when I went there, the experiences that I had are, I mean, worth writing a book about. But interestingly, what I came across was intrigue, curiosity, sometimes disbelief that there's a woman on the like doing sales. I've been asked questions like, "Can't your father afford to feed you?"
What do you mean? Why were you asked that?
Because why are you on the street selling soap? I was with Unilever, I was selling soap. So why are you in the wholesale market selling soap? Down to one interesting experience in a really small town in Andhra Pradesh called Miryalguda, where I was breaking for lunch while the salesman went for lunch home.
Yeah.
So I sat in a restaurant and, you know, they had these booths like trains. I don't know whether you've seen them. They're like,
of course.
And then they have these curtains that close.
Yeah.
So this guy came and he put 2 glasses of water in front of me, closed the curtain and went away. So like 7 minutes later, I was like, where is this guy? And I peeped out and he looked at me and said, "Gents?" So I was like, no, I don't want gents. I want food. So he says, "Gents?" Then I realized he was asking me that, no gents are coming to eat with you? So then I said, "No gents, only food," and then somehow figured out how to tell him I wanted to eat. So I'm saying, I think a lot of my experiences at that time were societal, not professional.
Right, but societal spills over into professional or no?
It does. It spills over in making you feel like this also will come your way. So maybe the guy wouldn't have had to have this experience. Maybe the experiences they would have is slightly different. Like I remember being in the sales team and my amazing sales force, all men, 40, mostly 40 plus, trying really hard to take care of me because we would be on the road from Ghaziabad to Meerut to Bareilly to Etah. And they wouldn't find a single washroom that I could use, right? I mean, these are very practical things. When you start working for blue chip companies, big organizations, technology organizations, you don't even realize that there is a part of the workforce who's still struggling with all this. So I'm going back to a time where there was a man's loo on every floor of the office, but a woman's loo only on the every second floor. So I think those things luckily have passed. Organizations have realized that they have enough representation, so they have to have equal facilities. Now we're talking much greater equality in that sense. But my initial days were full of experiences where it was like, oh my God, what am I doing here? They were full of these, like, you know.
What was, like, do you have that one moment where you were like, let me just leave?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same sales example. I was very young. I was 23 or 24 years old. And at that time, I was still very much out of my parental home into a college, from college to the first job. And I happened to be in a really, again, very small town where the car broke down, luckily near a motel. And I had to stay in a shady motel on the side of the road in UP. It was 42 degrees, it was really hot, and no air conditioning, I was literally taking buckets of water, wetting my bed and sleeping on it, right?
Yeah.
And I was sitting inside saying, what have I educated myself for? Like, what am I doing here? Right? And there were people walking outside my door, people knocking around on the door. The guy who dropped me, my driver said, don't open the door. Anything you do, till I come in the morning, don't open the door. I didn't know what kind of establishment I was in. So these are, like I said, it's what, I can write a book. But I think I went through that. It's like a chrysalis. You come out to the other side feeling like you can do anything, right? I mean, we talk a lot about safety. I have to give a lot of kudos to my parents for having not
corseted you in
corseted me
So,
after I did all this. So, and they were like, okay, I trust you and I trust the organization you're working for. So fine, you can go alone at 5 a.m. in the morning with this fog in the car to Bareilly or Meerut or whatever. So I think that we have a responsibility as society for all these women who are stepping out and doing things outside the comfort zone of the first 20 years of their life to help them make this journey. And whether it was 26 years ago or it's my children, my daughters are both adults. even as I send them out into the world, I don't think I am as strong as my parents were. So I have to be stronger. I have to make sure that I'm
I mean, that urge
giving
to
them.
protect.
Yeah. It's
It's
very hard to give up.
It's very hard to give up, and it's very unfair to your daughters.
Yeah, it is. And this is a constant discussion we're having, saying if the same restrictions don't apply to the guys, so why do they apply to us? And I try very hard to have a sense of equality, but you know, the safety, the urge to protect, the desire. So the only thing I tell them is, listen, every parent wants Life 360 or some Find My Phone sort of application to find out where you are. So I want it too. But to come back to what this is doing to organizations is that, see, we are getting girls from all, or women from all walks of life.
This is now at Amazon.
And even other organizations we've been part of, right? From small towns in the country, from big cities, from big colleges, from small colleges. They all have different life experiences, different lived experiences.
Sure.
And as organizations and as leadership, we have to be aware that it's not the same as what we've gone through. So some people are all ready to lean in, raise their hand and say, you know what, I want the next job. Whereas some other women or some other girls are still being diffident, saying, you know, the fact that I'm here itself is good enough. And do I really want to do more? I have so much responsibility at home. I'm not getting equal partnership.
Yeah.
So I'm going back to this question of, is gender important? I think gender is important to say that it's not one mass. It's actually a heterogeneous sort of mass, even all women who are in the world. Apart from education, I don't think their lived experiences are all the same. So organizations and leaders have to realize, almost situationally, saying this woman requires this kind of help.